Vanguard Party is about to move into history. Say. Now, SUP is about to move into history. Say. Now, social justice, academic freedom. Say. Manda. The most powerful man is about to speak to the nation. Say. Militants, conscious university students, fellow Liberians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, we want to invite you to this all-important press conference by directive of the most powerful man on the campuses of the University of Liberia, Admiral Carlos Timba Ellison, who presides over the tripartite section, the Politburo Central Committee, concomitantly General Congress of the Indomitable Vanguard Student Unification Party. We want to appreciate all of you, all students, all of our sympathizers, including the media, for standing with and by us during our tragedy. You are aware that the chairman and others were involved in a tragic motor accident. But by the grace of God, our chairman is here. We want to regret wholeheartedly the passing of our female general, who was very fearless and dedicated to the cause of the struggle. Her name is Daba Wilson. We will observe a moment of silence before the chairman begins to present a all-important statement on behalf of the Vanguard Student Unification Party. We will remember Comrade Admiral Lord Daba Wilson and the late Representative Adolph Lawrence with a moment of silence. Thank you very much. We will now turn the pendulum over to our most powerful chairman, Comrade Carlos Timba Ellison, who will now address distinguished members of the Folk Estate. Chairman, the podium is all yours. Thank you very much.
Manda! Yo, Vanguard Party, yo, SUV Supreme, yo, the mass about to move into history, Manda! Vanguard Student Unification Party, University of Liberia, Capitol Hill. President for immediate release. SUP overwhelmingly endorses June 7 protests, reaffirms the suspension of Secretary General Infantry Yuma for time indefinite, and strongly warns co-chair Mohamed Digbe and co-chair Charles Songe for gross indiscipline. Conscious university students of our nation's premier center of higher learning, royal adults and paragons of SUP, strong, well-militants and cadres, solidarity forces, and proponents of economic freedom, distinguished members of the Fourth Estate. With strength of mind and unyielding resilience in pursuit of social justice, economic freedom, and peace, we bring you philosophical greetings from the Boston of Intelligentsia and Hope, the Vanguard Student Unification Party. The party wishes all Islamic members of the Vanguard Student Unification Party and Muslim students in general a successful Ramadan filled with peace and love. As you are aware, in March of this year, SUP officially launched the Where Step Down campaign, providing 60 general reasons for reaching this nationalistic decision. This campaign remains unchanged and on course. In fact, June 7 protest is just a prelude or continuation of this progressive and popular call for President Weah to step aside, because he has proven unfit to lead in all dimensions. The attributes of this ex-Socostad are too far for the patriotic leader. His appetite for illicit wealth, fame, and power has transcended above the ultimate interests of the common people. The masses. Harsh prevailing realities have shown that our republic has fallen in the hands of hardcore crooks, male opportunists, incompetent bigots, and economic mafias. Fellow Liberians, members, our nation fall into the bands of gloom and doom. Nothing convinces us that we are making progress. The city-led government is more of a coalition of desperate crooks who have no real vision, no plan, and no genuine strategy to liberate Liberia and Liberians from social, economic, and political nightmare. Therefore, SUP, as the biggest student-based political and ideological movement in Liberia and Africa, will vehemently mobilize over thousands of students and youth for June 7 protest. We will protest to demand real change. Enough is enough. The people will be compelled to redefine their course on June 7 and move into history. No amount of threats or intimidations intended to dilute or thwart our collective resolve to stand in defense of the sovereignty and survival of our dying republic can prevent us.
Amanda! 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 Patio! People must step down. Party! Patio! For people must step down. Party! Amanda! 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 Amanda!
Continue. I repeat, no amount of threats or intimidation intended to dilute or thwart our collective resolve to stand in defense of the sovereignty and survival of our dying republic can prevent us. June 7 is non-negotiable, and SUP will be at the forefront of this popular people's revolution. With national urgency, we must and we will save the state on June 7. The Intelligence Bureau of the Vanguard Student Unification Party has reliably learned about a premature plan being hatched by UA administration to unjustifiably impose additional fees on students and cut the salaries, allowances of lecturers and professors as a result of President George Weah's flagrant inability to fulfill his political-driven tuition-free education promise, which is seriously impeding the smooth operation of the state-run university. The Vanguard Student Unification Party will vehemently oppose any devilish plan or design to financially overburden economically challenged students and underpaid lecturers. The students and lecturers must not and will not shoulder the responsibility of ill-advised and ill-fated promise of tuition-free education made by President Weah in October 2018. SUP will resist any reversal of such promise. President Weah must pay for what he promised or risk bearing the consequences thereof. SUP will resolutely stand against any form of increment from $1,605 LD to $5,000 flat rate. Let the administration be warned not to tread this slippery slope because such futile attempt could backfire and create a fertile ground for mass provocation and protest even before June 7. I repeat, SUP will resolutely stand against any form of increment from $1,605 Liberian dollars to $5,000 Liberian dollars flat rate. Let the administration be warned not to tread this slippery slope because such futile attempt could backfire and create a fertile ground for mass provocation and protest even before June 7. With outright discontent and disillusionment, SUP calls on Mr. Weah to make good his promise without any further delay. It will interest you to know as well that the Weah-led government is yet to even remit or transfer 50% of the annual budget, which is $16.2 million of the University of Liberia, even though this fiscal year 2018-2019 is nearing completion by June 30th this year.
Amanda! Patio! Supplementary responsibility, Patio! That is an unbearable act, Patio! So reject it, Amanda!
Continue.
I repeat. It will interest you to know as well that the Weir-led government is yet to even remit or transfer 50% of the annual budget, 16.2 million USD of the University of Liberia, even though this fiscal year 2018-2019 is nearing completion by June 30, 2019. As a result of this glaring lack of interest in education demonstrated by this government, UL is seriously challenged on several fronts. There has been continuous delay in the payment of salaries or allowances, no money to buy fuel and hire private buses to commute students and lecturers. Bathrooms are closed, no stationery, no electricity, classroom remain hostile for learning. No internet connectivity, no functional clinic, no safe drinking water, etc., etc. It has become an unchanged reality that the learning condition or environment at the state-run university is fast declining since the ascendancy of President Weir. SUP is calling on President Weir to prioritize education and abandon his wealth-seeking spree. Such egocentric endeavor is mind-boggling and unpatriotic. The government must find money to fund the university because such statutory onus is upon it to do so according to the 1952 charter that created the state-run university. Anything less than this, the Weir-led government will fully account for the future of over 19,000 Liberian students. SUP demands quality education and cautions Mr. Weir to refrain from politicizing or rhetoricizing education. The party is very concerned about thousands of students who are yet to complete their registration process because the new registration system has some limitations and faults. The student cannot be blamed for this misstep. We call on the administration to fast-track the registration of all students and immediately refund the money paid by over 2,500 students before President Weir will pronounce his tuition-free education policy. When will UL refund those students as promised? Since last semester, SUP is also calling on the UL administration to immediately issue student ID card this semester.
Amanda!
The Student Unification Party wants to reiterate that Secretary General Infantry Newman has been suspended with immediate effect for time indefinite for act contrary to the sacred philosophy, doctrine, and principles of the Student Unification Party.
So,
we call on Comrade Newman to take all properties and documents belonging to the Vanguard Student Unification Party in the next 24 hours. We call on all militant cadres and the general public to refrain from doing business with Comrade Newman. Henceforth, Assistant Secretary General Romeo Formula will now serve as Acting Secretary General of the Vanguard Student Unification Party.
So, Amanda! Patio! We want our Africa party! Patio! We want our Africa party! Amanda!
The party is seriously warning co-chair Mohammed Bey and co-chair Charles Sunday to refrain from unconventional and egotistic acts that undermine the integrity, independence, and sacredness of our institution. A repeat of such gross indiscipline on the part of these three individuals will lead to sustained disciplinary action. SUP is a disciplined institution and will not hesitate to reprimand any member who deviates from its original creed. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this point we want to inform the Vanguard Student Unification Party and the general public that the misconceptions that have been propagated and published in all media across the landscape of the Republic of Liberia carry the story that the standard bearer of the Vanguard Student Unification Party in question of candidate militant Mighty KM Cole has been suspended for time indefinite as part of the Vanguard Student Unification Party is false and misleading. The standard bearer of the Vanguard Student Unification Party remain unshakable, unbending, and he is charged with the responsibility to bear the standard of the institution as mandated by the 29th Central Committee of the Revolutionary Vanguard Student Unification Party.
Amanda, Patio, he remains our standard bearer of party. Patio, Martin King Polly remains our standard bearer of party. Amanda.
Also want to send it as a caveat to elements of the political leadership of this country that their political machination orchestrated to undermine the independence of the Vanguard Student Unification Party, pointing the direction to undermine the integrity and character of the Vanguard Student Unification Party standard bearer should stop immediately, because such action will never take our party an inch away from our decision that have been made already to make Mighty the standard bearer of our party. At this point, we want to say long live the Vanguard Student Unification Party, long live democracy in pursuit of social justice, academic freedom and peace. The struggle for an equal and a just society remains unceasingly progressive. During the issue on this 9th day of May, AD 2019, signed Acting Secretary General Romeo formally approved Carlos Tingma Edison, Chairman of the Vanguard Student Unification Party.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the press. It is indeed a pleasing opportunity in behalf of the Central Committee Politburo, concomitantly General Congress of the Vanguard Student Unification Party, to appreciate all ideological militants, conscious university students, distinguished members of the press, and the Liberian people in general for listening to the most powerful voice on the campuses of the University of Liberia. So at this time, probably you have one or two questions, even though you have taken your microphone, but others are going live. So we will entertain just two questions at most. Yes. 2 questions at most for the chairman to briefly address. Yes. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, my name is Ronnie Gamara in Rightful Liberian Network. Mr. Chairman, you vowed to mobilize thousands of students to join the June 7th protest. But are you cognizant of the troublesome history of peaceful protests in Liberia, ranging back from the arrest riots and coming down to even some of your towers who have lost their lives in similar protests? Why don't you abandon this protest and seek other diplomatic means or the civil means to resolving whatever points you have with the government?
First of all, I am an optimist, not a pessimist. A pessimist will always think about the dark side of history. An optimist will always think about the progressive side of history. I don't want to dwell on the bad side of our country's history. Whether people were killed because of protests, whether people wasn't able to happen, that seems to be attributed as the bad side of our country's history. I don't want to dwell on it. What is before us as member of this generation is how best we can contribute to the alleviation of the mass of our people from the dungeons of abject poverty. And it is incumbent upon us as member of this generation, the shared responsibility to see how best we all can cooperatively come together and see how best we can move our country to history in an effort of calling the political leadership of our country on the right trajectory of exercising and demonstrating that statutory responsibility that will point to the era of providing a conducive environment where all Liberians will be able to actualize in the physical reality their own economic, political, and social potential.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Addison, I'm too fan for for defense. You are close to the driver campaign of the June 7 protests. For the sake of the public, all are still in doubt. How many days is the protest going to last?
It depends on the motivation of the people. If you ask me, if I told you 2 days, 3 days, it will go 1 week, 2 weeks, I'll be a liar. The struggle on June 7, the mass of our people that will be appearing on June 7 are motivated and inspired by their own suffering and marginalization. They will determine whether they will stay on the street for 1 day, they will determine whether they will stay on the street for 2 days or 3 days. All I do know and I can explain to you crystal clearly is that June 7 will be the day where the mass of our people will assemble throughout the geographical landscape of our country to demand change in the political system of our country.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Mr. Direct for the meeting. I am prepared to have a dialogue with the president.
Dialogue, the death of our people. When hospitals are closed, when Tabata or JFK Hospital, Tabata the Jassy Hebdo Hospital, referral hospital in Tabata is closed, and people are dying from that region. When JFK is closed, when you know that redemption is closed, when inflation is skyrocketing, when schools are all partially closed, dialogue what? Negotiate what? The future of our country. We are not going to negotiate anything. We are not going to negotiate anything. The fact there are unconfirmed reports emerging on the landscape of our country that Major Joseph Koji are infused in our country some Burkina Bees and the mercenaries. We are not deterred by that. If you want to create stability, to hell with you. We don't care about that. This country belongs to approximately 5 million people. And we have the responsibility to speak out. It is our constitutional right. We are not going to negotiate or compromise our right. Only because we have infusing talks and ruthless gas in the system. Thank you for that.
The last question. If there is no question, ladies and gentlemen of the press, want to appreciate you for your presence, your support to this call.